I was thinking recently of an old hymn, one that I heard many times growing up. You probably did too. Stand up for Jesus. We don't sing it much anymore. Here is the first verse. Stand up for Jesus, ye soldiers of the cross. Lift high his royal banner, it must not suffer loss. From victory unto victory, his army shall he lead, till every foe is vanquished, and Christ is Lord indeed. Isn't it rousing? Doesn't it get you all stirred up? Doesn't it make you feel like, I don't know, maybe grabbing something, say a sword, and defending Jesus? Maybe like Peter, that cuts the right ear of the slave off, the slave of the high priest who was named Malchus, who was just doing his duty. Okay, maybe that is stretching things somewhat. Well, let's think about this for a moment. I'm sure Peter felt that he was standing up for Jesus and using his sword to injure someone. Only the Gospel of John mentions Peter by name, and only Luke says that Jesus healed the poor man whose ear was severed. But all four evangelists found this little detail compelling enough to include it. The bottom line is, one of those who was with Jesus tried to defend him by using his sword. And somehow mentioning that is important. I wonder if, like Peter, we are more likely to want to defend Jesus because he doesn't defend himself. In fact, we hear Jesus tell Peter, put your sword back into its sheath. Am I not to drink the cup that the Father has given me? Theologian Jonathan Martin comments, Jesus says to Peter what he would say to us when we feel God is somehow under threat and in need of protection. But Jesus is not in need of our defense. He is not in danger. Even before his crucifixion, Jesus refused to defend himself. He insisted on not standing up for himself, insisting that God would vindicate, God would justify. Inevitably, whenever we speak or act from a place of defense, we too often veer from the constructive agenda of God's radical love. In the words of Marilyn Robinson's wise novel, Gilead, nothing true about God can be said from a posture of defense. Cross-shaped love speaks for itself, but does not need to defend itself. He continues, it sounds pious to stand up for Jesus, but the reality is that Jesus does not ask us to stand up for him. Jesus asks us to stand up with him. Jesus is not in danger, but so many people around us are. In danger from sickness, terror, the broken systems of the world, even the consequences of their own choices. The Jesus depicted in the Gospels was not standing up for himself, but for the broken people around him. Jesus stands up for the woman caught in adultery, standing between the accused and her accusers. That's where Jesus was standing then. That's where Jesus is standing now. If we are truly serious about standing for him, then we will stand with him. Martin concludes, but if we, in a desire to protect Jesus from the world, attempt to leap to his defense, his message will be the same to us as it was to Peter. Put away your sword. Peter was powerless to alter the outcome of Jesus' crucifixion, and his intervention was unwelcome and unnecessary. Jesus welcomes all attempts to stand with those who are hungry, hurting, homeless, and abused. But no one stands up for him. That's what Good Friday is all about. This is what humanity did to Jesus 2,000 years ago. And we haven't become so enlightened in the intervening time that we would make a choice not to crucify him. Both those who scapegoated and crucified him, and the one who drew a sword to defend him, are just wooden horses on opposite sides of the same merry-go-round. Jesus invites us to get off the merry-go-round altogether. On this day, when all words fail, we look to the cross. Jesus stands alone because God has something to say. Here's a clue. It's about love.